Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Monday. It's December 2nd. This will be our chart lesson for today, and I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. It was a nice break. Glad to be back. It's going to be a short month, obviously because of the holidays. The market will usually tends to slow down towards the end of the year anyway, as people go on vacation, go out for holidays, and so just be prepared for that. I usually take the last 2 weeks of the year off. I'll usually take off somewhere during the Christmas week, and I'll take that and the following week off with through the first of the year. So then I come back after that. So I haven't had a chance to look at the calendar yet, but I'll update you on that as we get to it. We got a couple of weeks to go though. But it again, the market will tend to start to slow down as we get closer to Christmas and New Year's here in the U.S. So be prepared for that, and I'll update you soon. But let's get to the chart lesson. I'm a little behind from the holiday, so I'm trying to catch up. So I'm going to try to get this done and move on with today's chart lesson. But you can see an up day. We opened up and traded down. There was a gap on the chart, and we did not fill that gap. I'll show that to you when we get over there to the 2000 tick chart. But we ended up closing up and very close to the high of the day. I don't think we've quite made the original high there. Yeah, we did. We made a new high today. So there it is. Another all-time high for this contract again today. I didn't think we quite got there, but we did. So interesting. But yeah, the market's on a tear. It just keeps going higher. I mean, other than this one down day and maybe even this day, even though there was no change during the day, there was a big move up. So out of the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 trading days, we've had one down day. So it's a credible move. I don't know if you follow the cryptos. I was late to the game in the cryptos, but they've been on a tear, and we'll see where they go. There's the one thing I was impressed with was Trump said that he was going to make the U.S. the crypto capital of the world, and Trump usually does what he says he's going to do. So, um, go out and pick you out if you don't have to spend any real money on it. Go out and find you some cryptos. Obviously, you're not going to buy much Bitcoin, but it's about to break 100,000. It looks like. I got real close. I think it got to 99,000 something for it. Kind of backed off a little bit, but wouldn't be a surprise if we got over 100,000 soon. And I'm not pushing Bitcoins, but I mean, you never know. If you'd have bought $1,000 or even $100 worth of Bitcoin when it first came out, you'd be a multi-zillionaire now. So it doesn't hurt. There's going to be another there's going to be another crypto coin that does something similar to Bitcoin. I think XRP has a big opportunity, but again, I'm not trying to get into coins and crypto and all that, but just telling you what I did. I went out and bought a few $100s of about a dozen of them, and XRP is my favorite, and I bought a little extra of that, and it's done really well. I mean, even if I sold it tomorrow, I'm not going to get rich off of it, but I had to make a nice uh, or actually a huge profit off of it because you could get it for less than 50 cents not very long ago. So and I just been buying $100 here and $100 there, and if it doesn't turn into anything, I hadn't lost any money. You can go out and spend $100 on a tank of gas now, so it's like it doesn't really kill you to put $100 in something here and $100 there if you have the money. And who knows what might happen to it. So anyway, just thought I'd throw that out there. But let's get to the chart lesson again. Very bullish day. Let's flip over to the 2000 tick chart and take a look at it, and we'll get through the trades. And here we are. You can see we were in this uptrend. We got a break here and didn't quite make a new high, then pulled back again and ran up for a new high and actually got a couple of legs up. And we just kind of went sideways really after we made this new high. We actually did push a little bit higher, but we came right back down to that price level sideways again. And we closed off the high, not far from the high, But this thing continues to want to go up. And you can see where we closed at Friday. I believe that's Friday's close. Yeah, that would be Friday's close there um, at noontime. I think it closed at 12:15 or something like that on Friday. I don't know why it did that, but you can clearly see that that's where we closed. And so we opened here at 8:30. So that's the gap I'm talking about. And usually prices will try to fill that. So we'll see if prices continue higher, if we pull back at some point and try to fill. It's still a pretty good trading day if you understand how to trade ranges and support and resistance. And generally, when you get a consistent support and resistance, I love that kind of trading because it's like taking candy from a baby almost. You can't hardly mess it up. Now when you get lows like this where it's down here and then you get a few, but those are consistent there. And then you get back down here, and then you're up here, and you close here, and you come back down here. Those are hard. Sideways stuff like that is very difficult to trade. But that is super consistent there until we had the failed breakout. And then you just take a second entry long on a higher low, no less. And these are pretty consistent here. Triple test, uh, easy trade there. So I like those kind of trades. So anyway, let's zoom in here. There's not a ton of trades, but there's not a lot of volume today either, as you can see. It's kind of quiet. So, but when we came in, we were in this move up here. You'd need to have this drawn just in case to see what happens. But we were in this uptrend. You get a break, and you keep moving higher. I just don't see anything there. There was a news item you had to be aware of. I think there was one at 9 o'clock, and that's what this blue is here. So, but I just didn't see anything before 8:30, the regular open. Um, you got a second entry here, but your signal bar is no good. You had a higher low here, but you've already made a new high, so it's like you've already had a break in a new high, and you're not back to the EMA. It's generally not good to take a trade away from the EMA, away, and also trading away from it too. Now, if you're taking a trade way away to come back to it, that's a little different. But anyway, we get the break and we get several swings to a new high, and then we start working sideways and we get that little failed break higher out of this. I didn't draw the, there's definitely congestion there, and you get the little failed break higher. And this actually broke higher and failed and turned down. That's mostly all green. You could trade that on the engulfing if you want. You're maybe better off to wait for it to close. If you wait for it to close, it's a little more risky. It's only 10 ticks. I was thinking it was a little bigger than that, but that's not too bad. And you got plenty of room back to the EMA, plenty of room to the low of the range in case you can see it hesitated there before it dropped on down. And so that was a really nice first opportunity to take a trade this morning. If you take that, you probably don't get a big runner, but you would have a chance to get a runner there, or maybe even a couple of points there, depending on how you played it. It's nothing to write home about there. Most likely you're gonna get a scalp out of that. Now, if you got in up here, you'd probably get a bigger runner, but it depends on how you played it. If you entered on the engulfing bar, then you got a lot better entry, and you would have survived and could have probably ridden that all the way down. I guess you could have probably at least survived till here, and that gives you almost 5 points. So then you get your break, and it's 2 legs up and a second entry short right there. Again, I don't think you can trade this one on the engulfing bar, and that one's 9 ticks. I made this green simply because it's just before it goes into the news. But this is manufacturing PMI, and even though it's high and it can affect the market, it usually is not a big deal. So with this bar being at the time is 8:50, almost 8:51. So you got about 9 minutes, and 9 o'clock didn't come until I think right in here. Well, it was further than I thought. Where did the 9 o'clock come? So you would have had plenty of time to get out of that. So 9 o'clock is basically the starts at the end of this bar coming into the next bar. I was thinking it was more in this sideways stuff, but so I like that trade. Generally, you want to be flat 10 minutes prior to any kind of red high impact news. But again, you might take that trade. So I made it green for that reason. Otherwise, it'd be blue. No doubt about it. You can't enter on the engulfing bar. Wait till that closes. And you get two legs down. You get a second entry long here. That's right into the news. So, even if it was a good signal bar, I'd skip that one. And then you get a first entry, and you get a second entry when it breaks above that. But you can't enter this on the engulfing bar. You have to wait for that to close, and then it doesn't break above it. I marked it green just because it was a second entry when it broke higher there. And it's mostly red, so maybe you enter that on the engulfing bar. If you do, you got to ride all this out. I mean, I don't think you would have gotten out of that. You're better off just to skip this trade. I did mark it green, but yeah, so you wouldn't have gotten out of that trade. So you're probably better to skip it. Now, if it would have broke above this bar, yeah, maybe you go ahead and take it. Again, I probably would have left it green because there is some stem up there. I still think that closes in the upper 1/3, but it doesn't break higher, and then you drop down. And now you got a triple test here and a good signal bar. That's where you want to go long. And you wouldn't have got a runner on this one, but you do get a quick, easy scalp, and then it comes back. And you actually get another setup here, but I think that's too much stem there. It's just a first entry. It is at least a quadruple test. Easily a triple test, but if you had a good signal bar there, by all means go long. But my signal bar there prevents me from being able to take that trade. It doesn't fit our criteria, and even though it looks good and it worked out, the next time you try to take that trade, guess what will happen to you? It'll run down here and stop you out and set up a good entry and go right exactly where you thought. And the difference between an average trader and a good trader is being disciplined, and even though that goes off without you, it doesn't matter. I don't let it bother me. I missed a trade, but I followed my rules. There was no setup there, and there's nothing I can do about that. That's the attitude that you have to have if you want to be a good trader. So anyway, this is a nice move up. It's two legs up. There's a second entry there. But I think you got to wait. It's too neutral of a bar, and then it runs up again. And here, I mean, you might take that trade right there because it's really a double top here. So you might take that trade. It's just a first entry. It's a really good signal bar. I think you need to wait on the lower high, which comes here. And that's a really good signal bar. And it's a little large. Again, it's 10 ticks. These bars look really large because there's some smaller bars, but that's a reasonable entry, and I like taking that one. You might have to ride this one out a little bit, but it turns out to be a good move. And then, of course, you bounce down and you get a triple test here and a higher low. It's the first break of this channel coming down, though, and you don't quite have a new low. If you had a good signal bar there that far away from the EMA, I probably would have taken it on a higher low. But you don't get it. And of course it runs up, and this entry is clearly two legs back to the trend line, to the EMA, but it's because it went a little higher there, it's actually just a first entry. But it still looks like two legs back. On a bigger picture, you might see a second entry there, but technically this is not, by the counts, the way the second entry indicator would count, that is not a second entry. And the other way you might look at this, there wouldn't be anything wrong with it, is saying this is a range, which it is, and it's a failed break lower. You wouldn't really have the key entry point, so you're just taking a failure, and generally you'd be better off to wait on the higher low out of a failure, and I'd probably mark that just green. But because it looks like two legs back, two plus a failed break lower, I like it as a long. Again, you could argue for it to be green. It's right there, but I like that trade, and it turns out to be a pretty good move. And you're just looking to get a scalp. That's all you're looking for there. You got plenty of room back to these highs, and it ends up running on up. You don't get another real chance to enter it. You get to break, a couple of moves to a new high, and then a double top. And the only reason I didn't mark this one because it looks really congested. It does close outside it, so it's another one that you could. But you get a double top here and a lower high. It's a relatively big bar, but you might take that one. It's congested across there, and so this could fail and pull back. Again, I'd probably want to see a lower high or something that closes back outside again. But anyway, you might take that trade. And then we're just kind of working sideways here. We get in this range. And here you got a triple test here, so this is like a quadruple test. I like going long there. I would say take this one, but how much room do you have there? If there's enough room, I mean, it's just at 1.5 points, so it has just enough room. And so I felt it was a little dangerous. The bar's 12 ticks. Again, maybe you take that one. You come down here and you test this low again, get another signal bar. Now, it doesn't break higher here, but I still think you're okay to go long right there. You've had consistent support across here and everything. I mean, that's rejection. You're getting rejection off those lows. It just took them a few minutes to get some follow through. So if they were going sideways and closing as dojis, I'd say, well, maybe not. But you can clearly see we're closing near the highs each time, and you're getting rejection down here. And then finally you get some follow through, and you tap out up here at the highs again. It breaks higher, fails, and turns down. You can't trade that on the engulfing bar, but I like going short right there. This runs down. This one keeps going. Turns out to be a really nice move. You get a close outside and a couple of swings to a new low, and you get a higher low here. So I like going long right there. And boom, you're off to the races back to the highs again. You don't want to trade into this. You're really still in the range right here. I didn't extend it on since it went on through there. But yeah, it just looks too congested to me. You're probably heading up here to test the highs. And it actually pushes through, pulls back, and heads up again. And that took us into 230. I don't see anything else up here I'd want to trade yet. Maybe if you had a good signal bar here that was bearish, you might go short there after that many swings up. But you don't get it. You get a lower high here, but you're a little too far into 230 there. So you can see that's like 243. That's a little bit too far into the time period. We want to be stopped. So there it is. You're really mostly trading range type. It's range rules today. Maybe one trend rule, but it's still some range rule involved in it. So just the kind of day it was. But when you get consistent support like that and consistent resistance, trade it. And you can see when you don't get a setup when it breaks out. You don't get a setup here when it breaks out. So it usually will set up. It very rarely, if you trade it properly, it can, but very rarely will it fool you. If you're experienced at reading the chart and you understand what's going on. But I love these kind of days, honestly. I mean, I prefer a day that goes straight up, that gives you a second entry, and you jump in and it just keeps going and going and going. I love those kind of days, or gives you second entries over and over all the way up. But these days are often easier because they're so predictable. This kind of range right here is very predictable. So you notice when it breaks out, it fails on both sides and reverses back in. So I like those kind of days personally. And all we have here is a bigger range. You got your highs up here and your lows down here. So there it is. Not a lot of trades today, but the ones that are there are fairly straightforward. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. Will we continue to trade higher, or are we going to pull back some? I mean, we've been on a tear. I wouldn't fight this market. I wouldn't argue with this market. If it's going higher, go with it, as long as the trend's in play. And if it turns down, who knows what could happen? We could get a correction. Bonner could be big. I mean, I just don't know what to expect. I'm guessing going into the holidays that it's just going to slow down and it'll get slower and slower. and it might just be some choppy sideways days for a couple of weeks there until the new year, and from there, who knows? So the market tends to like the election results. We've been rallying ever since. I mean, we rallied pretty much the whole month of November. Believe it or not, we're making all-time new highs. We're above 6,000. So it's crazy. This market just wants to go higher, and it just continues to go higher if you look across there. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. I'm going to wrap it up for today. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. I'm done. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.